hold on, your name tag. I always forget the name tag until I look and I see. Wait, that's not.
It's me, Kent.
How's it going?
Good.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. How are you doing? This has been
I'm great.
a big day.
It's been a lot of work up to it. Have so many people in the chat to thank for all the support. This was not a me thing. This was like the animations done by Life, and Ryan coded it, and just Ben out there, like just so many people put so much effort into this. I'm thrilled, and I'm so glad that you are on. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I really appreciate it. How's it going?
Good. I'm excited. I didn't prep very much, but this will be just a very exciting exploratory.
Yeah. So do you want me to bring it up on my screen, or do you? Yep. Yeah. Cool.
I think that'd be easiest.
That's fine. Can we just grab it? One sec. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna show mine. There we go. Little snow wipe. And there we go. So I'm gonna drop this in chat as well. Let me see if I can find like a share button. I'll just drop.
I think you could just drop in the URL.
Cool. Yeah. It's just quite long. Was the only thing I wasn't sure if.
It is.
Like it's starting to cut it off.
Let me give you a shorter one.
It's fine. Yeah. It's linking the things with commas is the only issue. So if I could like maybe I don't know Code Sandbox as well. What is this?
Open How do I send something?
You just sent something, you said?
How do I do this?
Oh, yeah, in chat might be tough. Let me see. Can I fork this? I don't think I can fork this. Oh, this is the embed link. That might be.
Yeah, I figured it'd be easier to have the like files open.
No worries. Let's see what we got here. All right, I will drop this in chat. Perfect, that worked great. I almost closed the control room, which is how I'm seeing everyone. That would have been bad. We are, the long link worked. Great, thank you, nice. JT Tornado, welcome. Drop the new thing there. So what are we looking at, Amelia?
Yeah, so this is in the vein of kind of similar to what George and Monica did earlier. This is just a silly little snowman. And he's made with SVG. And we're using Svelte to build him, but I think we can kind of just ignore the Svelte bits.
Okay.
And focus on HTML, SVG, there's some CSS, and that's pretty much it.
Oh
boy.
Hold on. No, okay, so I'm
there's not gonna, you might be able to change the font size in the URL.
Let's see if
that might be the way to do it.
I just refreshed and it's good to go.
That's another way to do it. If you if you click on him, he should. There you go. Okay, cool. My stream is horrible, so all of this text is a blur. But I will bring it up to the side and just kind of cross-reference.
I will follow along. Sorry about that.
No. It's my internet probably. All right. So this first file, actually, you could open up Snowman.
Got it.
And it's just alphabetical. So this is a Svelte component.
Cool.
But as you can tell, it's kind of just JavaScript at the top in the script tag. There's HTML below that, and then there's some CSS in a style tag down below.
Cool.
And we kind of have them split out into different parts. There's there's some backgrounds near the top of the SVG element. There's
pattern ID snow.
Right there. Yeah, so that's like the snow that's falling on him. Yeah, there's a pattern, and then below that is some background.
Cool.
Below that we have the different parts of the snowman cut up into body parts.
Perfect.
Perfect for the Halloween stream. And then below that is just like some text. So I thought we could walk through the different parts and kind of talk about, like, there's some fun tricks you can do with SVG that I don't see people using very often.
Cool.
And I just think people should know about them.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So there's one cool trick in here, which is we're using, maybe this isn't cool, but I think it's cool. We're using CSS variables for because SVG, if you like, yeah, right there. So because it's SVG and it's inline, we can use basically anything that's valid CSS that works for SVG elements. So like anything you do with colors, you can use CSS variables as colors. So if you change like the eyes to red, we could get like a really creepy snowman going on here, but maybe too creepy.
That's so good. Change it back.
So this is like kind of a fun way if you wanted an interactive SVG and you wanted it to be like easy for someone who wasn't really comfortable with SVG, you could just use CSS variables for the fill or stroke values.
Yeah, it's easy for people to come in and customize. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. The next thing that's kind of fun is I thought we could start with the click me text.
Yeah.
So that's all the way at the bottom of the SVG. And the way SVG works is it's there's no Z index. It's just whatever gets defined last is on top. So this text would be on top of anything.
Cool.
And there's this is something I use actually a lot. I do a lot of data visualization, and if you click into the component, I have like a React component and a Svelte component for like circle text is usually what I call it.
The little arc on the text. That's cool.
Yeah, so you can use a text path, which is like a specific SVG element. So any path you make, and if you do href and then use the ID of that path, it'll put the text on top of that. So it's just a really fun way to like have labels in charts, or like maybe you could do something a little bit wavy.
Yeah, that's great.
But I always forget the format it needs to be, so I always look it up. So first you need a path, and I've linked to the MDN docs for arcs. Nice. It's basically just making a circle, but you can't use the circle element because it's text path, and it won't work. I try that almost every time. And then we're just kind of moving it and rotating it so the text is kind of askew. You could even change that rotation. It'll move around a little bit. And then underneath, or like anywhere else in that same SVG or in a different SVG, you need a text element and then a text path element within that. And text is just like how you do text in SVG, and then text path is how you say, hey, take that text and make it wiggly or make it circular or do something fun with it.
I've not played with text path nearly enough.
Yeah, it's tricky. I feel like it's more finicky than I want it to be. It's never doing what I want. So I always just like copy paste this.
Yeah, but then like for, compared to what you can do with like HTML text or whatever you would call it, just like, like it's still a lot more powerful, even if it's finicky.
Yeah, there's always a way to do something in SVG. It's just usually not what you think it is. All right, so that is text paths. The next thing that's kind of fun is if you go back to Snowman, we have this seeded random function. We're kind of just importing a library for this, and then we made a function random that takes a min and a max and a number of decimals, and then it just like gets a random number in between those two. And this is just what you typically do with something like generative art, where if you have a seed, the like random numbers are deterministic. So if you have the same seed and you call random in the same order, those numbers will always be the same, but you still get like different numbers every time you call it.
Got it.
So we're passing that down to the different parts of the snowman. So the next one that's kind of fun is in scarf. That's felt. And there's two fun things here. Up at the top, right there, we're getting a random color, and typically I'll reach for like a color library to get, I want to kind of like a bright but not too saturated color that's not really light or really dark. But we can use different color spaces now. So this is us using HSL, and the different values in an HSL definition are hue, saturation, and lightness is what I think they're called. And The first one is hue. It's like it's a circle, so it's 360 degrees around, kind of like if you imagine the color wheel.
Right.
And then for the saturation, we're keeping it between 40 and 70, and both the saturation and lightness are percents. Oh no, Alex, we lost you.
Yeah, I'm turning it off. I'll be back in a second. You can keep going.
No worries. And then for lightness, we're also keeping that between 40 and 70. So this is like, we want a scarf and we want multiple scarf colors, but we don't want the scarf to be like bright red because that would be too intense for a Christmas stream. So this is just like a
bright
really
red
easy
eyes.
way.
We want the eyes to be red.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. So it's clearly superior. And then like we're just saying, I want 1 to 6 colors. We're gonna, make an array of 6 of those random color values. Underneath that, we're creating a gradient and like kind of doing a for loop over each of those colors.
Is that here? Yeah, here we go. Cool.
Yes.
Got it to each. Yeah.
Yeah, so on line 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just how you do gradients in SVG. You can't use CSS gradients. When I said you could do anything with CSS, I lied to you, and I apologize. If you want gradients, you have to do something like this. And then see, this gradient has the ID of scarf. And then we are using that down below. We kind of have 2 paths. We have the first path is kind of like the collar. So like the scarf has been wrapped around Snowman's neck. Is that first one. And then the second one is like, it kind of blows off in the wind. And this is just playing with the different commands with the paths D attribute. This is kind of like the drawing the turtle thing you'll do when you're first learning programming, if anybody else knows what I'm referring to. But M is like move to, and the letter C is curve. And then curves have 2 control points. So this is like move over 0.5. It's not pixels, but it's like SVG.
The units
points
of SVG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
0.5 units, and then go get a Y value anywhere from like negative 0.3 to 1, and then go over another one, get a random Y value, and then go to the end. So it's kind of like a controlled but random scarf.
Got it.
Kind of thing.
So these numbers are the reason why the scarf's always the same length, but the other number controls how up and down they go, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really fun, Amelia.
A really absurd snowman. And this reminds me, I totally forgot. This is one of my favorite things. In snowman.svelte, there's a viewbox attribute, and this is something I use all the time. Typically, when you use SVG elements, if you don't define a viewbox, 1 unit is going to equal 1 pixel. So I think the default size of an SVG element is like 150 by 300 or something like that.
Got it.
So if you want something in the middle, you'll put it at like 150, 75, or whatever would be the middle of those. But if you define a viewbox, then your unit space goes from, those numbers are XY of the top left point, and then the width and the height. So everything that we've defined in here, whether it's the path or like where the circle is, those all are going to be anywhere from -1 to 1 or 0 to 5, which just makes it easier to like center something, because a circle, say, has a default X position of 0. So then you don't even have to like use an X position for a centered circle.
That's really handy. I have never seen anyone do, or at least I haven't noticed. That's a great tip.
It's my favorite thing.
And then the overflow visible makes it so that like things can go outside of it. And
so the SVG itself is like barely larger than I think the body of the snowman.
Okay.
Plus the arms, I think. So the snow is going outside of it, and SVG by default has overflow hidden. So you just extend that if you want.
So
like,
the view box
parts
is more of a
SVG.
suggestion now than it
Yeah.
is like a hard crop. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
used
yeah,
to,
yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. You could have, say, like an SVG in the top left corner of your web page, and then just like still like color the entire web page.
Got it.
Not that you'd probably want to do that.
I mean, we're doing wavy scarf snowmen with moods that change. I love the frowns and the tongues. You have so many good details here. The mountains changing are great too.
So the mountains have a very similar thing to the scarf. It's like the same like random Y and then random X. And it's just like the path. And the other cool thing about these path commands is if they're capitalized, those are absolute units. And if they're lowercase, they're relative units. So if you like move to a spot and then you say like Q like 1 comma whatever, it's going to move over 1 from wherever it was moved to, as opposed to if you did a capital Q, it would go to like the X position 1.
Got it.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like it'd be something where I'd have to like play with it to make sure I get it, but I think I get what you're saying for sure.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry. How are we doing on time?
We have 1 minute.
Okay, my favorite part is I actually use this a few times. If you go to face.svelte.
I love these file names, by the way. Great component names.
Thank you very much. We're using a use element down there on line. I think that's 28. So if you comment that out, it gets super weird.
Commenting it out apparently killed my camera. Hold on one sec.
Comment out your camera.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was in SVG the whole oh.
So I'm really only drawing half of the face.
That's clever.
And then you can use a use element to just like use the same whatever picture, and then this one's rotated. We're also doing it for the body. That's kind of what the shadow is. It's like a wavy version of the body.
That's
so like
cool.
It's really nice to only be able to do things one time.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. If it's symmetrical, just do that. That's great.
Yeah, why not?
Awesome trick. Lots of great little techniques in this. Thank you so much for putting this together for us. It's adorable. I'm going to bring it back so it's not just half the face. And yeah, thank you so much, Amelia. This is delightful. Absolutely delightful. Chat, let's give her a big round of applause, all that stuff. Amelia has this great interactive about the viewbox attribute. Yes, Amelia's blog is one of my absolute favorites. It's phenomenal. I think it even got a shout out in the CSS survey thing from Josh. So
did I? I totally missed that.
I will have him on later. I will grill him to see if I am making that up. But yes, I think Josh shouted it out for like just being a blog that he loves. But the chat's going wild. Love it. Chat.
Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome, and the whole day is so good. So happy to be here.
Just phenomenal lineup, and you are a huge part of that. So thank you so much, Amelia. We got to have you back on soon. All right. Take care. Have a happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Bye.